30 kilometers north of Damascus, hidden from the world, lies Saydnaya Military Prison, a name whispered in fear, a place shrouded in secrecy. This is not just a prison, it is a human slaughterhouse, a monument to the cruelty of the Syrian regime. Within those walls, unimaginable horrors unfold. This is the story of Saydnaya, a place where hope goes to die. Saydnaya wasn't always a place of horror. Built in 1987, it was a military prison, a place for soldiers who strayed from the regime's path. But as the Syrian civil war erupted, something changed. Saydnaya transformed. It became a weapon. The regime, desperate to cling to power, unleashed its fury on anyone who dared to dissent. Activists, journalists, even ordinary citizens all disappeared into Saydnaya's depths. For those who enter Saydnaya, the nightmare begins immediately. The welcome party, a cruel initiation into a world of pain, blindfolded, beaten, electrocuted. The message is clear. This is a place where humanity is extinguished. The guards, desensitized by brutality, revel in their power. They are the architects of suffering, the orchestrators of unimaginable pain. Survival in Saydnaya is a daily battle. The cells meant for a few overflow with dozens of prisoners. The air thick with the stench of sweat, excrement, and fear. Food is scarce, water contaminated. Disease spreads like wildfire. Many die slowly, their bodies wasting away. Others choose a quicker end, taking their own lives. But even death offers no escape. The bodies, piled high, are disposed of like garbage. Their final resting place unmarked mass graves. Section 5. The Tools of Terror. Torture in Saydnaya is not random, it is systematic, calculated, designed to break the body and crush the spirit. The tire, a prisoner's body contorted, bound, and beaten. The German chair, slowly breaking the spine, inflicting agonizing pain. Electric shocks, beatings, sexual assault, every method of torture imaginable, and some too horrific to comprehend, are employed within these walls. Section 6. Scars that don't heal. The physical scars of Saydnaya may fade, but the psychological trauma runs deep. The memories etched into the minds of survivors haunt them long after their release. The constant fear, the sounds of screams echoing through the corridors, the sight of fellow prisoners being tortured and killed. These are the invisible scars that never truly heal. The world outside may seem like a distant dream. Many survivors struggle to readjust, forever marked by their ordeal. Section 7. The Silent Scream of the Dead. The true scale of the horror at Saydnaya is difficult to comprehend. This notorious prison, located in Syria, has become synonymous with unimaginable suffering and death. Thousands have perished within its walls. The prison, fortified with barbed wire and high-security measures, stands as a grim fortress of despair. Their deaths, shrouded in secrecy, are a testament to the regime's brutality. The corridors echo with the silent screams of those who suffered, their voices forever silenced by the oppressive regime. Mass hangings, executions by firing squad. The methods of execution are as varied as they are horrifying. The noose, the firing squad, each method a cruel end to a life filled with torment. Bodies disposed of in mass graves under the cover of darkness. These clandestine burials are a desperate attempt to hide the scale of the atrocities. The earth itself seems to groan under the weight of so many lost souls. The evidence, though suppressed, whispers the truth. Hidden documents, secret footage, and scattered files all point to a systematic campaign of extermination. Each piece of evidence is a fragment of a larger, horrifying puzzle. Amnesty International, in its chilling report Human Slaughterhouse, estimates that at least 13,000 people were hanged between 2011 and 2015. This report, a damning indictment of the regime, sheds light on the scale of the horror. The actual number is likely far higher. Overcrowded cells, unmarked graves, and the sheer volume of missing persons suggest that the true extent of the atrocities may never be fully known. The silent scream of the dead continues to haunt those who seek justice. Families of the victims, left with nothing but memories and photographs, hold vigils and memorials hoping to keep the memory of their loved ones alive. Their grief is a stark reminder of the human cost of this brutal regime. International courts and human rights organizations continue to gather evidence seeking justice for the victims. The road to accountability is long and fraught with challenges, but the pursuit of justice remains unwavering. Global solidarity and protests demand that such atrocities never happen again. The world watches, and the call for justice grows louder. The silent scream of the dead must be heard, and their suffering must not be in vain. As the sun rises over a new day, there is hope that the voices of the silenced will one day be heard, and that justice will prevail. The silent scream of the dead is a call to action, a reminder that we must never forget. Section 8. A glimmer in the darkness. For years, Saydnaya remained an impenetrable fortress. This high-security prison, located in the mountains of Syria, was notorious for its brutal conditions and the secrecy that shrouded its operations. The walls of Saydnaya were not just physical barriers, they were symbolic of the regime's iron grip on dissent and opposition. Inside, countless political prisoners languished, cut off from the outside world, their voices silenced by the oppressive regime. The regime, denying all allegations, refused access to independent observers. They maintained a facade of normalcy, insisting that Saydnaya was merely a detention center for criminals. However, whispers of the atrocities committed within its walls began to spread. Former detainees who managed to escape recounted tales of torture, starvation, and inhumane treatment. Despite these harrowing accounts, the regime's propaganda machine worked tirelessly to discredit the survivors and their stories. But the truth, like light, has a way of escaping even the darkest corners. The stories of those who suffered in Saydnaya could not be completely suppressed. Human rights organizations began to take notice, compiling reports and gathering evidence. The international community started to question the regime's narrative, demanding transparency and accountability. The pressure was mounting, but the regime remained defiant, continuing to deny any wrongdoing. In 2024, a glimmer of hope emerged. The world watched in awe as a group of rebels, determined to expose the truth, launched a daring operation. They infiltrated the heavily guarded prison, risking their lives to bring justice to those who had suffered for so long. The operation was meticulously planned, with the rebels coordinating with former detainees who provided crucial information about the prison's layout and security measures. Rebels, in a daring move, opened the prison gates, freeing thousands. The scenes that followed were both heart-wrenching and inspiring. Families who had been separated for years were reunited, their tears of joy mingling with the pain of their past experiences. The world watched as the once impenetrable fortress was breached, and the truth about Saydnaya began to emerge in full force. The world finally caught a glimpse of the horrors that had unfolded within. The conditions inside Saydnaya were far worse than anyone had imagined. Cells were overcrowded, with prisoners living in squalor. Evidence of torture was everywhere, from makeshift instruments of pain to the scars on the bodies of the survivors. The international media descended upon the scene, broadcasting the grim reality to a global audience. Survivor testimonies, harrowing yet essential, began to surface. These brave individuals recounted their experiences, shedding light on the regime's brutal tactics. Their stories were filled with unimaginable suffering, but also with resilience and hope. They spoke of the friendships they had formed in the darkest of times, the small acts of kindness that kept them going, and their unwavering belief that one day, justice would prevail. Their stories, a testament to human resilience, shattered the regime's wall of silence. The international community, moved by the survivors' accounts, called for immediate action. Human rights organizations demanded that those responsible for the atrocities be held accountable. The survivors, standing together in solidarity, became symbols of hope and strength. Their courage in the face of unimaginable adversity inspired people around the world to continue the fight for justice and human rights. Section 9. Justice, not just memory. Saydnaya stands as a stark reminder of the fragility of human rights. This notorious prison has witnessed countless atrocities, serving as a grim symbol of the lengths to which oppressive regimes will go to silence dissent and crush the human spirit. The stories that emerge from within its walls are harrowing, filled with unimaginable suffering and pain. Yet they also serve as a powerful testament to the resilience and courage of those who have endured such horrors. It is a call to action, a demand for justice. The voices of the oppressed and the cries of the tortured echo through time, urging us to stand up and fight for what is right. These rallies and protests are not just gatherings, they are powerful movements that seek to bring about real change. Each sign held high, Each chant for justice represents a collective yearning for a world where human rights are upheld and respected. We cannot allow these atrocities to be forgotten. The candlelight vigils and remembrance ceremonies are more than just acts of mourning. They are acts of defiance against the forces of oppression. By holding photos of the victims and lighting candles in their memory, we ensure that their stories are not lost to history. We honor their lives and reaffirm our commitment to seeking justice for them and for all who suffer under tyranny. Support organizations like Amnesty International and the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights. These groups work tirelessly to document abuses, advocate for victims, and hold perpetrators accountable. Their efforts are crucial in the global fight for human rights. By supporting them, we amplify their impact and help create a world where justice prevails. Their work is a beacon of hope in a world often shrouded in darkness. They fight tirelessly to expose human rights abuses and bring the perpetrators to justice. Remember the victims. The courtroom battles and legal challenges are essential in the pursuit of justice. Lawyers and activists work hand in hand, navigating complex legal systems to ensure that those responsible for heinous crimes are held accountable. Their dedication and perseverance are a testament to the power of the human spirit and the unyielding quest for justice. Honor their memory by fighting for a world where such horrors never happen again. Silence is complicity. By participating in protests, attending memorial events, and holding candles in remembrance, we send a clear message that we will not stand idly by in the face of injustice. Our actions, no matter how small, contribute to a larger movement that seeks to eradicate human rights abuses and build a more just and equitable world. Speak out. Demand justice. Use your voice to advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. Whether through public speeches, protest marches, or simply raising awareness in your community, every action counts. Together, we can create a world where justice is not just a distant dream, but a tangible reality for all. Let us stand united in our pursuit of justice, and let our voices be the catalyst for change. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to watch all our videos.